We will now begin today's teleconference, and we start this morning with Bethune-Cookman head coach Vanessa Blair-Lewis. Bethune-Cookman finished last season with a Division I program record 24 wins against 7 losses, going 15-1 in conference play to win a share of the regular season title before falling in the MEAC tournament semifinals and earning a berth to the WNIT. Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing well.
Glad to hear it. Glad to talk with you. Glad we're a couple weeks away from the start of basketball season. Coach, as I mentioned before, you won 24 games last year. You earned your 3rd straight trip to the WNIT. Talk about that experience and what it means for the players who are coming back this season.
Well, it's an exciting time for us here. Just to see this program grow and develop the way that it has is great. The girls are excited about this upcoming season and doing some great things. We are excited about our returning players who can't wait to kind of start playing games, getting tired of practice and beating up each other. But overall, we are looking forward to the season.
And, Coach, you returned both the reigning MEAC Player of the Year in Angel Golden and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Ashanti Hunt. What does their experience and leadership mean for you going into the season?
Oh, it means everything. These young ladies, as soon as the season was over, they were in the gym. And we just literally could not keep them out of the gym all summer. They counted down the days to when practice started, to when games started. They are more than excited about this season coming up, and they are such a great example to all of the players on our team, especially the newcomers, as the work ethic and what it takes to continue to play at this level and to put the program in high regard.
And obviously Angel and Ashanti get the lion's share of the attention because of the awards they won last year, Angel Golden being voted the preseason player of the year this year. But who are some of the other returners you're looking for this season?
Well, we have some great players coming back, and Amaya Scott, who's a sophomore this year, just looking for her to show more of a leadership role down there in the post. Crazy athletic and a good IQ for the game. You know, last year as a freshman, she suffered an injury midway through non-conference and really was not herself the entire rest of the season, but all healed up and ready to go. Armani Walker, backup point guard, played behind Emily Williams last year, and she's a big guard for us at 5'8" and nice size, and predicted to come and take over the reins of the team of Emily Williams when she left. Kendall Fincher, we have a transfer from Xavier University who really shot the lights out in the Big East, so we're excited about having her on the wing, another big guard at 5'11", very versatile player herself. And Bree Hardy gave us some really valuable minutes at 5'10", a stretch forward for us that was able to score from the outside and be able to take it inside. So we have some really key players around those two, Angel and Ashanti, that should garner a lot of minutes.
You mentioned one of your newcomers in that answer. Who are some of the other new faces to the program that you're looking to make an impact this season?
We have some good players coming in from Tania White from Largo High School, team that won a state championship, so she's no stranger to winning and winning championships, and she's another big guard for us at 5'10" on the wing that can really shoot the ball. Kiana Williams from Columbia, Maryland, point guard, versatile guard that can get to the rim, shoot, but really has a good IQ for the game and a heads-up point guard that can look to pass first. Camry Harris out of Kings Fork and Suffolk, Virginia, another versatile guard, savvy, quick, can shoot the ball from the outside, and get to the rack and just has a good feel for the game. And Alyssa Jones out of Alonzo High School in Tampa, Florida, a big post player that should back up. I forgot to mention Chisimi Brown down there on the post and give us some good minutes for Chisimi down there backing her up.
And, Coach, looking at your schedule for the coming season, a couple interesting non-conference games stand out to me. You've got Liberty at home on November 9th, and then you've got a game in early December at the University of Florida. Talk about the schedule you've put together for this season.
Well, I mean, I think unlike a lot of the coaches in the conference, you want that non-conference schedule to be competitive, to get us ready for a very competitive conference slate. So University of Florida and Liberty, they're going to definitely challenge us. Those two programs have done wonders in their conference, and we also go up to UNC Charlotte and University of South Florida, who is really top-notch program, and all really in our backyard, so it'll be good for us to see and play against some teams in Florida, but they're definitely going to get us ready for the conference slate.
You mentioned the conference slate, and last year you went 15-1 in the league for the second straight year. The regular season title really came down between you and North Carolina A&T. Talk about going through the conference slate and what you expect out of that group of games in January and February this year.
Well, I expect, like I always do, that on any given night, any team can win in this conference. It's usually a dogfight, a bloodbath, if you will. All these teams are coached by amazing coaches that we have in the MEAC. So you've got to be ready every single night. There are no gimmies in this conference. Everybody who plays has to work for the position that they earn. And so I'm excited. Our girls understand and know that every single night you have to be ready to play your A game.
You mentioned the coaching in the MEAC. There is a coach I want to put a little bit of a spotlight on. Your assistant coach, Chandler McCabe, who did a really good job filling in for you at the MEAC tournament last year and in a couple regular season games as well. Talk about what she means to your program.
Well, Chandler has been with me for 4 years now, and you know, it was not even a no-brainer when it came to announcing to them that I was pregnant, that Coach McCabe would take over the reins, should I, and in my absences. And, you know, she's an on-court coach. She's also a recruiting coordinator. She has a great feel for this game. She is going to be an amazing head coach one day. She has all of the qualities. So the girls responded well to her. You know, it was not even a second thought when I wasn't with the team, besides missing being there, that they were going to be in great hands.
And, you know, the run of success your program has had over the last couple of years is well documented, but also well documented is the fact that you've yet to take home the big prize at the end of that week in Norfolk, Virginia. Do the previous disappointments just make the team that much hungrier to win that title this year?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all play for that prize. You know, and so for us, our focus is, you know, at one time, you know, we were that team that was announced 12th, you know, and then 10th, and then 8th. And as you know, work your way, you know, up the rankings, you know, you enjoy the success that your team is giving. However, now we're at that point now where we're ready. We want to take that next step, and I'm proud of these girls. I'm proud of the fight that they've had. I'm proud of, you know, coming from basically the bottom, you know, and working ourselves here, and it's a commitment. And, you know, we usually get the kids that aren't recruited by many people, so they come in and they work and they develop. And so, of course, you know, we want that big prize. We want to go see what the NCAA tournament is like.
Thank you, Coach. That concludes my questions. We would like to open the call up now for questions from the media.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to register a question, please press the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. You will hear a 3-tone prompt to acknowledge your request. If your question has been answered and you would like to withdraw your registration, please press the 1 followed by the 3. If you're using a speakerphone, please lift your handset before entering your request. Again, to register for a question, press the 1-4 on your telephone. One moment for the first question. There are no questions at this time.
Coach, we thank you for your time this morning, and we wish you good luck for the rest of practice and once the season kicks off on November 7th.
Thank you, and good luck to all the coaches.
Thank you. Bethune-Cookman opens the 2018-19 season on Wednesday, November 7th, at home against Edward Waters. For more information about Bethune-Cookman basketball and their other athletic programs, log on to www.bcuathletics.com. The Eagles finished tied for 10th in the MEAC last season with a 5-11 mark and had an overall record of 6-23. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning. How's everyone this morning?
We're doing pretty well. Coach, given what your team did last year, what are some of your expectations for this year's team?
Well, last year's team, we suffered through a lot of injuries, and it was a struggle for us most of the season. So our number one goal this year is, one, to stay healthy. I just think that we can stay healthy throughout the season, that we'll win a lot of basketball games, a lot more basketball games than what we did last year.
You've got two key returners coming back in Genesis Lucas and Chance Graham, who was the Rookie of the Year 2 years ago, and she's a preseason first-team honoree. Talk about your expectations for Chance this season.
Chance is going to be a huge part of our program for the next couple of years. We're going to look for her for a bunch of leadership. She's been doing a fantastic job so far in preseason about leading the girls. And we're also looking for her to do a whole bunch more scoring than a little bit more than what she did last year. So she's a true leader. She's stepping up to the task at this point.
Talk about some of the other returners you have coming back this season. Who else are you looking for big things from as the season unfolds?
Last year was a freshman, Mariah Smith, who's a sophomore this year. She's expected to step up and score the ball a little bit more for us. And we have Dami Oladayu, who is a post player for us, who's going to step up as well. And she's, like I said, both of them are doing really well in preseason, and I'm looking forward to them stepping up to key roles this year.
Talk about some of the newcomers you have on campus this season.
We have Brooke Fields, who's actually from Baltimore, who was up at the Division II school with Robert Wesleyan for 3 years, who decided to come back home. She's going to step in and be a huge part. She's going to run the point guard for us. She's a good-sized point guard at 5'7", nice-sized body who can score the ball and get to the basket. We have a 6'5" transfer coming in from Hawaii, Adrian Darden, who's going to be something special in the post for us. We haven't really had the post presence that we've had in previous years that we're going to need to win. And I think Adrian's going to be a big help along the lines with Jalinda. We have a Jalinda Sally, a 6'3" freshman out of Ohio, Reynoldsburg, Ohio, who's played at a high level of basketball throughout her career so far at AAU and high school. I'm looking for her to step in and be a big asset as well. We have a couple other kids that are going to come in. We have Kaya Coleman, who's a transfer from UDC, who's going to step in and who can shoot the ball extremely well, along with Maya Price out of Charlotte, North Carolina, who is just about 5'9", 5'10", who can get to the basket, knock down the three. Just a key piece that's really going to help us do well this season.
Coach, looking at your schedule for the coming year, it looks like non-conference-wise, you've got a lot of what you had last year. Some of the who's who of college basketball: West Virginia, Maryland, Mississippi State, Virginia. I see Old Dominion on your schedule. Talk about your schedule for the season.
Well, it's a tough schedule. I mean, we're one of those schools who have to go out and play a bunch of guarantee games, and I tell our kids that we're going to go out here and we're going to play hard and hopefully win each and every game. And try to get better each and every night. I said, I don't care who we're playing against. At the end of the night, they need to understand that they win a tough basketball game. So we go out and we play hard, and we go out to win every single game. And like Vanessa said, these games only prepare us for our conference, and that just make us a lot tougher when it comes down to conference play in January.
And adding to how tough the schedule is, you have only one home game before the new year. That's November 14th against UMBC. Is that just the reality of being a program at this level?
That's just the reality of it. I mean, we try to schedule as many home games as we possibly can, but we have to. We just have to play on the road. I don't mind being on the road. Sometimes kids get too comfortable at home, so we have to go out on the road. You just got to play hard each and every night.
Coach, your team was picked to finish 9th in the preseason poll. Is that something you pay attention to? Does that become motivation for the team, or do you just ignore it and just go out and play basketball?
No, we pay attention to it, and like I said, I use it to our benefit. I mean, we're selected 9th, and what we got to do is step up to the plate and just prove to everyone that we're not the 9th team in the conference, that we're better than that. It's up to my kids to go out each and every night, to want to prove that. So we try to use it as bulletin board material in the locker room just to make us better.
Thank you, Coach. That concludes all of my questions. So we will now open up the call for questions from the media.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. To register for a question, please press the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. Again, to register for a question, the 1-4 on your telephone. And there are no questions at this time.
Coach Burroughs, we thank you for your time this morning, and we'd like to wish your team good luck in the last couple weeks of preseason practice and once the season tips on November 6th.
All righty, thank you, and everybody have a great season.
Thank you. Coppin State opens its season on Tuesday, November 6th in Morgantown, West Virginia, against the Mountaineers of West Virginia. For more information on Coppin State, please visit www.coppinstatesports.com. We're now joined by Delaware State first-year head coach David Caputo. The Hornets went 6-24 overall last season and finished 5-11 in MEAC play. Morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. First of all, welcome to the MEAC.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Coach, this will be your first season at the helm at Delaware State. How have things been so far, and what's the biggest thing you've noticed in the months you've been up there in Dover?
Just really busy, got the job kind of late, so just been kind of thrown into the fire, just doing a lot of this, a lot of that, and just trying to get our culture changed and just bring some new energy and ideas, and just take it one day at a time, Jeff.
How does that process go when you get on campus, say July, August, somewhere around in there, and you can't even hold an official practice until October?
Well, again, it's a one day at a time process, and you come in here, number one thing you're trying to do is connect with the players, and then, handle the meat and potato stuff of your program, which is, scheduling and recruiting, and, workouts and stuff like that, and the daily office grind. So, again, it's just a day-to-day thing. I got a great staff in here with me. It came a little late as well, but we've been really working hard to catch up, and, things have been great. I'm blessed. It's a great opportunity, great place. We have a lot of new people in different positions and different titles. So it's been a lot of change here, but a lot of fun.
Turning our attention onto the court, looking at some of the players coming back this year, obviously you've got one of the more dynamic individual talents in the conference in Najee Pollard, who was named preseason first-team All-MEAC. Talk about what you expect out of her and some of your other returners this season.
Well, I told them all, you're on a clean slate with me. I didn't even care what they did last year and who was all conference, who was, and what the record was. So they all had a clean slate. We have no captains, nothing. So, but yeah, she's a good player. And the thing with Najee is, we talk about just getting better and being more versatile and being more consistent and being a better leader and putting the extra time in. And but that's the same approach we have with all of our players. So they're all on kind of like an even slate with me right now, and just they're all working to get better each and every day and trying to expand their games and their basketball IQs.
With a few weeks of practice already underway, who's standing out to you, whether they be a returner or a newcomer?
I think they all have days where, you see improvement. We're looking more as I'm looking more to see how the team is developing. I don't really, the individual pieces, are important, but again, us developing as a unit on both sides of the ball and as being a connected team, that's what I'm looking at more. But, there's been individuals, day to day there you can see that are improving. We have a pretty good walk-on kid named Brittany James who's come in and brought some good things to the table. But, again, every day we're really just talking about team, and just building that cohesion and playing kind of the style we want to play on both sides of the ball, and just again focusing more on team just every single day and not individuals.
You still got a couple weeks yet to go before the official start of the season, but how much is the team chomping at the bit to get started, and maybe even more so, how excited are you to actually get this season started?
I love practice right now because we need it. So, again, it's one day at a time with all of us, but I know they're excited to go against somebody else We have a pretty tough non-conference schedule, as you can see. But they're excited. They're pretty confident. I think, each day that goes by, they're more comfortable with the style of play we're playing. They think it's pretty effective. So I know everyone's kind of chomping at the bit, but me personally right now, I'm just trying to enjoy practice and get as much done as I possibly can each day with this team, one day at a time.
You mentioned it briefly. Your schedule. I'm looking at it right now, and I see games against Temple. You get James Madison at home. They're always tough. Delaware is always a tough matchup. You got VCU before the end of the calendar year. Talk about your non-conference schedule.
Yeah, we got St. John's too. Xavier. Marshall's a tough trip. Robert Morris. I think they won the conference last year. So yeah, it's a tough schedule. We're just one day at a time. I'm very familiar with Temple and James Madison and Delaware. We played against them at UNC Wilmington last year, so that'll help me in scouting. But again, they're tough opponents. They're big, they're strong, they're athletic, they're pretty deep. So again, we'll do a one day at a time approach. We'll prepare scouting-wise the best we can, and just have our team goals intact and try to achieve our team goals one day at a time, one game at a time.
A lot of times at this level, the season starts and you don't see a team at home until conference play starts. But 4 of your first 6 games were at home. That has to make you feel pretty good.
That does. That does. We're trying to build more of a fan base here. The environment here can get pretty good when it's pretty packed, because I saw that when I first got here. We had the welcome back night. I was like, wow, this place can get pretty jumping in here. So, I'm pretty excited about having a couple home games early on in November, but. Again, it's about us just getting better every day, and it doesn't matter what gym we're at. We have to play and perform at a high level, and, again, just get better as a team every single day. But it is exciting to have games on our campus to get the students involved and get alumni involved and just build more of a fan base and, just kind of get our new brand and our new style out there to Delaware State and to Dover.
Do you pay any mind to the fact that you were picked to finish 10th in the conference this season, or is stuff like that stuff you ignore?
Yeah, I had no idea until you just told me. I didn't care. I knew we weren't picked first, but again, that stuff means nothing to me. I even told Najee, I'm like, hey, I'm happy for you got nominated to first team all conference, but we don't even talk about stuff like that. Again, it's just us getting better every day on both sides of the ball, being more of a team, being more connected, building relationships. That stuff means everything to me. The picks really mean nothing to me, Jeff, to be honest with you.
Thank you, Coach. Those are all my questions. We will now open up the call for questions from the media.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to register for a question, please press the 1-4 on your telephone. Again, that is the 1-4 on your telephone. And there are no questions at this time.
Great. Thank you.
Coach, thank you for your time this morning, and good luck this season.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care.
You too. Delaware State opens its season on Tuesday, November 6th, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, against Temple. For more information on Delaware State, log on to their official website at www.dsuhornets.com. We're now joined by Florida A&M head coach LeDawn Gibson. The Rattlers finished 12th in the MEAC last season with a 4-12 record, going 8-24 overall. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Coach, talk about the season your team had last year.
Surprisingly, we didn't do as good as I thought we would throughout the season. We had a couple of injuries and, just didn't perform like we should have. But we got the conference tournament and finally came into our own and, did what we need to do at the tournament. So I thought we had a great showing at the tournament at the end of the season.
That's something that you've done the last couple of years. You had a good run in the tournament last year. I believe the year before you made it to the semifinals. What goes into a team making a run like that after having maybe not the regular season they had hoped?
Well, you go in the conference, everybody's record's the same, so I tell them that before we go in and play that, everybody record 0-0. So right now you survive and win, and that was our motto last year, was to survive and win when we got to the tournament. So you leave it all on the floor each game.
Coach, you're one of the longest tenured coaches in this conference. I believe this is either your 11th or 12th season. Talk about the journey and the progress of the program down there at Florida A&M.
It's my 11th season, and it's definitely been a journey. When I first came in the league, you can almost pick the teams you were going to beat or, like for sure wins. Now I think the conference has evened out across the board. Every conference game is a competitive game. Everybody bring the best game every night. So that's been enjoyable to watch. And then the program here, we had a couple setbacks the last couple of years, but we're looking this year to come out and do a lot of things different. Our motto this year is one team, one goal. So, we're just trying to, one goal, one team, I'm sorry. So we're just trying to come out and play together and make a statement early, doing non-conference to try to get our, like as a good word for it is get our mojo going. So when we get in the conference, we'll pretty much be locked in on what we're doing and, move on from there.
Looking at your roster for the coming season, I see 3 graduate students, but other than that, it looks like you have a fairly young team. Talk about some of the talent you have coming back this season.
Well, Dominic Royer will be our key player that's coming back this year. She started probably every game last year, if not almost every game last year. So she's the one with that experience that we're looking to, turn to. She has that experience, the MEAC experience. Taylor Dart, she played some, not a whole lot. But she's worked out this summer, and she looked better coming back this year. And Shalonda Bernie Robinson, she was an impact player for us last year. She ended up going down during the Savannah State game. She tore her ACL, so she'll be back. She graduated, which is one of our grad students, I'm sorry. And so she'll be back this year because they granted her 5th year.
That's good to hear. Talk about some of the newcomers you have. What have you seen out of them in practice, and who do you think is going to be a standout performer?
It's still hard to say. We're going through that adversity of missing a week of practice from hurricane, which was very unfortunate. But, they come in, everybody comes in and work hard every night, every day. So it's like one day it could be one person, the next day it could be the next person. So stand out. I'm looking for leadership from my grad transfers. I have 2, Candace Williams and Tyra James. I'm looking for a lot of leadership from them. The other young lady's pretty young, like you said. So, but they're not young as in, young in age, but their IQ and all that good stuff. I think they will bring a lot to the table. We're not worried about the fact that we are young. You just go out there and play. Basketball is basketball. Everybody lace them up the same way.
You mentioned missing a week because of the hurricane. Obviously, when there's a situation like that, first and foremost, you worry about everybody's safety. But once that's accounted for, how difficult was missing that week? What exactly did that do to your program?
It was very difficult. You couldn't practice, you couldn't shoot, you couldn't run, you couldn't do anything. We had National Guard stationed at our gym for 2 weeks, so we actually didn't get to practice in our own facility up until this week. We just got back in there this week. So it's been kind of tough, but I told ladies through adversity we get stronger. So we're not going to hinder on it. We're not going to worry about it. We're just going to press forward because at the end of the day, November the 6th, we tip off. We got to be ready, somewhat ready. We're not exactly where we want to be, but, we're getting there. We're getting there because, like I say, they come in and work hard every day, and that's very important. They're focused, and they're excited, and they make the coaches excited because they're excited. It's a new team. So, it's a new year, new team, and we're just ready to go.
Looking at your schedule, I see games against Tennessee, Florida, Miami, but I also see that you open the season with back-to-back home games. So talk about your 2018-19 schedule.
Well, having this young team, it was very important to get a couple games at home. We have a great fan base here in Tallahassee. So it was great to get these young ladies acclimated to our home court and our home fans. And so I think that would be 2 great games for us. Tennessee is Tennessee. You just go and you just want to compete to get better. With Miami and Florida, they're just the bigger conferences, so we just want to go in there and compete, play hard. And all that focuses on getting ready for the conference. You want to win those games. You want to compete in those games. But at the end of the day, January is when our competition really starts.
Coach, that concludes all of my questions. We will now open up the call for questions from the media.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. To register for a question, press the 1-4 on your telephone. Again, it is the 1-4 on your telephone. And there are no questions at this time.
Coach, we thank you for your time this morning, and we'd like to wish you the best of luck this season going forward.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too. The Rattlers open their season at home on Tuesday, November 6th, when they take on Jacksonville State. For more information on Florida A&M, log on to www.famuathletics.com. We're joined now by Howard head coach Ty Grace. Bison went 12-18 overall last season, finishing tied for 5th in the MEAC with a mark of 8-8. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good. Coach, talk about the Bison last season. You advanced to the semifinals of the conference tournament after going 8-8 in league play.
Well, I didn't think we achieved all the things we had set out to do last season. 8-8 was respectable, but not how we wanted to, go into the playoffs, and obviously not losing once again in the second round. So, we had our year of ups and downs and different challenges, but we just kept fighting and trying to go game by game, and the end result wasn't what we wanted, but you just got to be ready for the next opportunity.
Looking at your team for this season, two names that stand out to me are Sarah Edmond and Ayanna Williams. Both players were named to our preseason MEAC teams. Ayanna was third team, Sarah was second team. Talk about what you expect from them this season and from some of your other returners.
They're really key players to our team. I mean, they're a pretty strong backcourt, and they lead us in so many different areas. So obviously they're an important part of our team, and they understand that. And we've talked about their roles and how important they are to our team in making us go. Along with our forwards, Imani Bryant and Jayla Thornton, and some Jayla Miles, and some other freshmen we have coming in. So everybody has a different role they need to fill, and hopefully they fill it well enough to help us, do as well as we intend to.
Talk about some of the newcomers you got this season. Who's been standing out for you in practice?
Both of our freshmen have actually. Kristen Marsh, a freshman from Duncanville, Texas, and Gia Thorpe from Pittsburgh. They both have been playing extremely well. They're really hard workers, great IQs, just energetic players that bring a lot of spark to our team. And, they're looking forward to hopefully being on the court for us a lot this year.
Coach, looking at your schedule for the coming season, I see games against William and Mary, George Mason, Richmond, North Carolina. But by the same token, I see the three of your first 5 games of the season, or 3 of the first 6, you play at home. So talk about your schedule for me.
I think we have a pretty balanced schedule. We hadn't played at home in November that many times since I've taken the job here, so having 3 games is a luxury right now. But you look at the schedule and you see a lot of different balances, and in terms of playing schools that you feel are 50-50 games, and schools in the area, we don't travel on the road as much so far away, so I think that helps our kids with recovery and things of that nature. So it's going to be a competitive schedule, I think, but I hope that we get an opportunity to go out and win some of those games that we see as the 50-50.
Coach, your team was picked to finish 4th in the conference this season. Is that something you pay attention to? Is that something you address with your team? Or do you just ignore it and just go out and play ball?
I don't pay attention to it. All I know is that, we want to beat the teams that we haven't beaten, and to get where we want to get. And at some point, you got to start to get separation. You can't keep being in the middle of the pack. Obviously, if you're not number 1, you're last, in my opinion. So, we're trying to get some separation and beat the teams that have beat us and have stopped us from getting to where we want to get, and which is to a championship. So, no, the preseason stuff doesn't really affect us at all. It doesn't mean anything because, as you know, it never seems to end that way. So, we're just looking to compete every day and figure out where we're gonna be when it counts.
Thank you, Coach. That concludes my questions. We will now open the call for questions from the media.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. To register for a question, press the 1-4 on your telephone. Again, press the 1-4 on your telephone. And there are no questions at this time.
Well, Coach Grace, we thank you for your time this morning, and good luck to the Bison when their season starts on Tuesday, November 6th.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Howard will open its season on the road on Tuesday, November 6th, when they head to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to take on LaSalle. For more information on Howard women's basketball, visit www.hubison.com. We're now joined by Maryland Eastern Shore head coach Fred Batchelor. Maryland Eastern Shore finished last season with a mark of 7-9 in conference play and went 11-19 overall. Morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Coach, just give us a quick rundown of your team's year last season.
We started out. I think we had a really bad start in MEAC play. We started out 1-5 in conference play, which really was a challenge for us to overcome. But we were dealing with some injuries, kids getting back, and some schedule conflicts with family emergencies and things like that. They kept some kids away that were critical to our success early on that we didn't have. But I thought we kind of salvaged the season last year during the thick of the MEAC, and then we get an advance in the tournament. We run into Bethune-Cookman, who was really just a better team. They beat us 3 times that year, and they played really great the night we played them in the tournament. So, things could have been worse for us. We feel like we really underachieved a little bit. We definitely didn't overachieve, and we're looking forward to making up for that this season.
Coach, you're one of the longest tenured coaches in this conference. I believe it's your 15th year in Princess Anne.
Jeff, you don't have to tell anybody how old I am. You have to remind everybody.
I'm right there with you, so. Talk about the growth you've seen, not just at Maryland Eastern Shore, but women's basketball in the conference as a whole.
Well, I've been very fortunate and blessed to be in this position for the time I've been. I've seen it change a lot over time, but all for the better. I think the leadership of the league has been very, very supportive and genuine in regard to women's basketball, and they've given us a voice. And I believe the coaches in our league, and I was listening to Coach Gibson, also Vanessa over Bethune, very strong women and components of women's basketball who really support the game and support the league. And I see the development of our league getting better and stronger, and you can see that when we're playing outside of our league. What Tarrell is doing over at North Carolina A&T, what they've been able to accomplish and represent in our league, outside the league, as well as a few other schools that have had some huge wins. I even look at what Norfolk State has done last year and knocking off some really, really good mid-major programs. I believe our league is very competitive. It's very strong from top to bottom. And, it's something that I think is going to continue to get better because I believe the coaching in the league has improved. And I think everybody's working as hard as they can to get the most out of what they got. So it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of the MEAC, and I feel that all of the coaches in our league feel the same way. And we look forward to promoting this league as a competitive league, but also beyond when we're playing outside in non-league play.
Coach, looking at your team this season, a lot of familiar names jump out at me. Not just the reigning Rookie of the Year in Barisha Gill-Miles, but you've also got Siani Byram coming back. You've got Kiera Eaton coming back. Talk about the returners that you have this season.
Well, I'm excited, number one, to have both my Winston-Salem backcourt to start the year healthy, which we didn't have last year. Those two kids, and C.C. Byram and Kiera Eaton, it's been a real tough challenge for them over the last 3 years. Neither one of them have played a complete season healthy, and it's made it really tough. I thought their freshman year in the backcourt, when they took over and started, we won our last 6 games. And then Kiera Eaton broke her thumb in the last 2 minutes of the last game of the regular season before we went into conference play. The next year, we start out with both of them healthy, and we have the best start, their sophomore season, the best start in school history. And then we lose C.C. Byram in the first conference game. Last year, we started with both of them not on the floor for the first month of the season, and it took a while to adjust to that, not having any preseason, no time to really work in the off season and kind of come together. it made it really challenging for us. So this year we're really excited to have those two healthy and starting their senior year. I think I really believe we can challenge anyone for the best backcourt in the MEAC when they're healthy. And then we have an addition of someone I think a lot of people don't really remember or know, but I would know her from a coach's perspective, and that's Regine Martin. She's a kid that, as a senior, those three kids in that senior class that I've been fortunate to coach for 4 years, 4-year players. I know they're going to do something special this year, and I'm excited to watch them and be a part of it. We also have a senior in Dominique Walker, who's a JUCO transfer who broke her foot last year in the first conference game. Didn't even get a chance to play in the first conference game. We're actually preparing for her to start the first conference game, and she broke her foot. So we're excited to have her back this year. And we had a chance this summer to go over to Costa Rica to do a foreign tour, and it really gave us, I think, a little kickstart, a little hit, much more time to kind of come together and understand each other and learn what we could learn how to get the most out of this year. And I thought it was a great experience for us. So I'm really excited about that senior class, and I'm looking forward to being a part of what I believe they're going to make a special season for UMES basketball.
You mentioned that Costa Rica trip, and there are the obvious benefits of the team getting practice time and game experience in that setting. But what are some of the other benefits going forward from that trip, particularly once you get through like the January and the February part of your schedule?
We talk a lot about gratitude and being thankful for what we are and being thankful for what the situation we have here at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, being able to play Division I basketball and receive, for most of them, a free education. The experience of going to the orphanages and being with each other and kind of really being appreciative to what University of Maryland Eastern Shore has offered them in regard to an experience. I think it's really helped build a bond with our girls and even with the girls and the coaching staff, young ladies rather, and the coaching staff, that I think that when we come up against adversity and we have problems, I think you're going to see a much more resilient team as a result of that experience that we had. So we know that it's going to be a battle. You know, the season is long. It's really, really tough. It's grinding. And you need something special to get through that and be successful. And I think we've developed those type of characteristics that I think are going to help us generate the type of success that we're expecting to have this year. And I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Coach, I'm looking at your schedule for the coming season. I see games against Georgetown, Richmond, Syracuse, Wake Forest, Miami. But by the same token, 3 of the first 4 6 games of the season are at home. So talk about your schedule for the season.
Well, you know, whoever did this schedule should get fired because this is a really challenging schedule, and I have to take full responsibility for it. You're right. We do have 3 games. I was listening to Coach Ty talk about having 3 games in November, which is great for us to have 3 home games. One of the first home games we have is against the University of Buffalo, who was a Sweet 16 tournament team last year, which is going to be really challenging for us. And then we have some ACC opponents and a couple games that we feel like I listen to Coach say 50-50 games that we feel we can be successful in if we come out and play the type of basketball we're capable of playing in the non-league. So as tough as our schedule is, I'm optimistic and that we'll be able to walk into league play with some momentum from our non-league schedule. But it is going to be tough. It's challenging. We have some travel. We try to stay regional as much as possible, but it's still long. You know, we're spending a lot of games on the road. I'm looking at my schedule now, and we go to Longwood, UMBC, Syracuse, Wake Forest, Miami, Mount St. Mary's, George Mason, before we go to Morgan in our first conference game. So that's a real challenge for any 18 to 22-year-old to have to play those type of games on the road and then get into conference play and start on the road. But we have some experience. I think the fact that we have 3 4-year players, seniors, and we have some returners. We're strong in regard to returning kids. We basically returned everyone that we were supposed to return other than those to graduation. So we feel like we have an experienced team that's capable of dealing with the challenges of playing the type of schedule that we have in the non-league.
Well, Coach, we thank you for your time this morning, and good luck to your team when your season starts on Tuesday, November 6th.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
The Hawks get started on Tuesday, November 6th, when they hit the road to take on East Carolina. For more information on Maryland Eastern Shore, visit www.easternshorehawks.com. We're now joined by Morgan State head coach Edward Davis Jr. Morgan State finished 16-15 overall and went 8-8 in conference play last season. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well. Coach, just give me a quick rundown of your 2017-18 season.
Well, last year, we were blessed to have some returning kids that had to prove something to themselves, that they could play at a little higher level that they've been in prior to the years they've been here. And that was with Kai Williams, Brendan Farrar, and also Alexis. The kids had a little bit to prove. We came up a little short, ran into Hampton, great team, played them tough for all three games. But like Coach Batchelor said about Bethune, they were just a little better basketball team. We had our best non-conference season last year. We won. We were 2 games above 500 in non-conference play, and finished out 8-8 in the MEAC, leaving a whole lot of games aside, about 1 point, 2 point, 3 points. So we felt we were right in the hunt, but at the end of the day, the better team won.
And Coach, spinning that forward to this year, what do you see going into this season? What are your expectations this year?
Well, we lost a great deal of people, but I'm not the type of coach that's going to sit and cry about that. We brought in a couple of nice players. Our goal this year is to get through our non-conference schedule, which is going to be pretty brutal, and then try to be prepared for the MEAC with new people, with new roles. And with the kids that played last year, we didn't get a whole lot of on-the-court time. They're going to be responsible for getting better by January so that we can at least be competitive in the MEAC. When we talk to what I see this year, we do have some returning players, and our best kid who I think is going to be a major impact would be Adriana Coleman, 6'1", 6'2" forward that I think can score inside and outside with the best kids in the MEAC. We've added to that a great transfer kid out of Tallahassee community, which won the Division I national championship, in Don Gibson, another long 6'2", 6'3" player that can play on the wing. Couple that with a couple of JUCO transfers, Desiree Morales out of Eastern Oklahoma, 6'1", 6'2" player who I think is going to learn how tough the MEAC is, but I think at some point she'll be an impact. The other player that we have is Dallas Petty, who's coming out of Kansas. Once again, these 2 players are going to have to learn how tough the MEAC is, regardless of what JUCO they went to. We're just a whole different animal on this side. And finally, we do return 3 kids who got limited time last year, and Kayla Warren. Also, I'm trying to make sure I don't screw up on her name, Jahia Davis. I'm talking about Chavis, who comes back also to give us a little more added experience in the backcourt. These kids are going to have to show me and show the MEAC that they can win MEAC games. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but I definitely expect us to be a better team second part of the season.
You mentioned players coming in and learning how tough the MEAC is. With how long you've been in this conference, talk about the growth that you've seen in the conference.
Well, like Coach Batchelor alluded to, conference has definitely gotten better. We can go back to a heyday in the conference when I think every team in the MEAC was tough. And I think it's getting back to that point, although you do have your premier tier, you sit a little better than some of us. But I think a lot of us are catching up. And as Coach Blair alluded to, on a night-to-night basis, we just want to make it competitive. Our whole goal is just to upset people. Everybody that's in front of us, we want to try to upset. I guess people that we might be in front want to do the same to us. So, it's all about upsets and trying to gain momentum prior to that tournament. So, when you ask me that question, this conference has truly gotten extremely tough. not just in the conference, but as Fred said, outside the conference also.
And I'm looking at your schedule for the season. You compete in the preseason WNIT this year, and then I'm going down the line. I see you play Georgia, you play Maryland, Michigan, West Virginia. Talk about your schedule this season.
Monster, brutal, monster. That's all I can tell you. We were asked to play in the WNIT, and we talked it over. We felt that it would be a great experience for our new kids. We open up with Hartford, and then I think the winner of that goes to Miami. And if not that, the other two games you have to play. Once we come out of that, we are playing in Puerto Rico against Maryland and Georgia, which will just be a test, which will force me to try some different things just to see if we can do time management plays and try to control tempo. Coming out of that, Western Kentucky, which was one of the top teams over in their tier, over in their conference, and then ending up with West Virginia and Morgan. Last year's trip up to Morgantown wasn't pretty. But, once again, we're hoping that we can take all of what is positive out of all of these games, turn it around, and make it definitely a plus for us going into the MEAC, and not a negative with the kids feeling like they were beat down, but that we learned something out of each one of these non-conference big games that we played.
Coach, that concludes all my questions. We'll now open up the call for questions from the media.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. To register for a question, press the 1-4 on your telephone. Again, the 1-4 on your telephone. And there are no questions at this time.
Coach, thank you for your time, and we wish your team good luck this season.
Thank you.
Lady Bears will open the 2018-19 season at home on Tuesday, November 6th, when they take on Lincoln of Pennsylvania. For more information on Morgan State, visit www.morganstatebears.com. We're now joined by Norfolk State head coach Larry Vickers. Spartans were tied for fourth in the MEAC at 11-5 last season, going 18-11 overall. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning.
Coach, talk about your team last season. In a lot of ways, it was one of the better seasons in recent history for Norfolk State, but at the same time, you didn't quite reach the ultimate goal.
Yeah, well, I felt like we started the year off bad, and we ended the year off bad. So we started the year off 2-5, losing to some teams we should have really never lost to before winning 9 straight and then playing all right in MEAC play. And then at the end of the year, completely tailored off. So, I think our group is excited about this year, and they know where our challenges were in the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, and they're going to try to fix that.
Are they motivated any by the way last season ended?
I don't really think so. I don't really think the tournament per se is their motivation. We weren't playing well the last 2 weeks of the season anyway. So, it wasn't surprising for the coaching staff what happened in the early round. We were just really struggling in all aspects offensively of the basketball. So I don't think that is a motivational factor going into this year, but there's definitely some unfinished business for, a lot of teams in the league. So, you could just put us in that list.
Looking at your roster for this season, your returners are highlighted by 3 names who were on the preseason All-MEAC teams. You got Raven Russell, who was second team, and then Khadijah Croker and Alexis Long were third team. Talk about those 3 players and what you're expecting out of them this season.
Well, I think for all 3 of them, it's just about the next step. I think Dee was Croker. She was our defensive foundation for us. She makes everything happen. Raven and Lex are polar opposite players, but they both bring totally different things. As far as one's a shooter and one's kind of slasher finisher, and for I think all 3 of them, they're just trying to figure out now with us losing Kayla Roberts, who's going to be Batman moving forward for us, and
that now, or is that something you won't know until you're in the meat of the season?
Well, I was hoping to know by now, but we've been battling injuries with all three of them. Like two of the three are out now. So, it's giving me a chance to really see a lot of our bench and see who's gonna be able to step forward moving into the season.
Talk about some of the newcomers, who you expect to be a standout from that group.
Well, I think Dana Eccles, she's a junior college point guard from Shelton State. She's going to come in and really help us right away, shooting, and just really controlling our team. I don't think we really had a true point guard last year, so this is a different dynamic for me. I haven't had a really true point guard since I've kind of moved over. So I'm really excited about her, as well as LaDasia James, who also adds some shooting to our team, and she's been a scorer her entire life. So it'll be a little different as far as the way we'll play size-wise, but we're definitely excited. As far as the returners, though, we still have Armani Franklin, who was freshman, all-conference freshman team, and then just seeing how Dawkins and Dees are going to step up in that 4 spot.
Looking at your schedule for the season, you're playing teams like Ole Miss, Old Dominion, Wake Forest. Talk about your schedule for the season.
Well, like a lot of teams in the league, we do play some guaranteed games, and those are actually our 3 guarantees. But we feel like if we can come in and compete and shoot the ball well, we'll definitely have an opportunity to win. Last year we had a pretty good non-conference, going 7-5. So, that kind of set the standard for us, and we know we can win a lot of games non-conference. So we're excited about that challenge.
You were picked to finish 3rd in the MEAC in the preseason poll that we announced this morning. Is that something you pay attention to? Do you get motivation from it, or is that something you just ignore?
I wouldn't use the word pay attention to, but, things like that do interest me, especially as far as the program has come in the last 2 years. So, things like that, I know my team looks at, so of course I look at it as well. So now anything below 3rd is kind of almost like a disappointment. So we're going to work hard to try and, move into that next tier of MEAC women's basketball.
All right, Coach, that concludes all of my questions. We will now open up the call for questions from the media.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to register a question, press the 1-4 on your telephone. Again, that is the 1-4 on your telephone. And there are no questions at this time.
Well, Coach, we thank you for your time this morning, and good luck to you and your Spartans as you start the season on Tuesday, November 6th.
All right, thank you.
Norfolk State opens its season on Tuesday, November 6th, when the Spartans head to Oxford, Mississippi to take on Ole Miss. For more information on Norfolk State, log on to www.nsuspartans.com. We are joined now by North Carolina A&T State head coach Tarrell Robinson. The Aggies went 15-1 in conference play last season, tying Bethune-Cookman for the regular season title, and going 23-9 overall en route to winning the MEAC tournament title and advancing to the NCAA tournament. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff. How you doing, man? I'm doing good.
Pretty good, Coach. The Aggies appeared to return to form last season. They shared the regular season title. You won the tournament. Made it to the NCAAs, gave the defending champion South Carolina a pretty good game. Talk about what last year's team accomplished.
They accomplished a lot. Like in my 6 years in leadership here, by far the best group that I had the pleasure of coaching in terms of how they responded to adversity and the challenges that I set for them, and the situations we had during the season. Like, they was a group that was very coachable and worked hard, and obviously they were rewarded, at the end. So it was fun. It was exciting. At that time, we were an inexperienced group with 3 upperclassmen in terms of seniors, and the rest were sophomores as far as the ones that played. And and this year it's different. We have a group of quote-unquote experience. But we'll see.
Coach, what are your expectations coming into this season, particularly now that you've been named the preseason favorite to win the conference?
Well, that is what it is every year. That is, when we recruit young women, when we talk about the expectations of this program, it's about championship. So nothing's changed from that. I just wonder if this group, who was a great group to coach last year, if they're complacent. And now that they are the hunted and not the hunter, how are they going to respond, every game and every situation? Because we've already, at this point, before the season started, had a lot of, off-the-court things that we've got to sort out. And, we have injuries and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting, early, obviously, non-conference to kind of see how things will go going into conference.
That piggybacks off the next question I was going to ask. Being the one with the target on your back, does that change how you do things as a coach?
No, not really. Not really. I just, I'm a big communicator, so I like to make sure our young women understand that it's going to be different now where, last year we were coming off being an 8-8 and 14-18 team, and we talk about our 14-18 season a lot because a lot of the group that's here was there then, and just the things that caused that. Bad chemistry, being bad teammates or, being undisciplined. So we talk about those things and we try to, control what we can control from that aspect. And then, from there, we keep the course on what we've been doing and what we prided ourselves in, these years that we've had success.
A lot of coaches that I know, regardless of the sport, once the season starts, they tend to have tunnel vision. It's very much just their program, their day-to-day. But are you cognizant of the year that you had last year, not just as the women's basketball program, but what North Carolina A&T State athletics as a whole did last year?
Absolutely. I mean, man, that's how that helps recruiting. From football to bowling to men's and women's track and field. You talk about winning, and that's what young people want to hear, and plus a quality education. And just, being a historically black college, the tradition and me being an alumnus. So, definitely I'm proud of what my university, did last year. And we talk about that, trying to keep that trend going.
Looking at some of the players you've got coming back this season, highlighted obviously by Alexis Laceers, Secoria Foy, both players were named preseason all-conference. Talk about what you expect out of them and some of your other returners.
Well, CC Foy, is a dynamic, athletic player, and, we're challenging her this year to be more efficient. I think she shot the ball about 15 times, only made 4 of them. And, I want her to be more efficient, this year, focus a little bit more on her defense and obviously, her being a great athlete, scoring easy baskets in transition. As far as Shug will continue to be our catalyst defensively. Shug is the enforcer. Her size really gives us an advantage going into a lot of games. You have to be worried about her because she's one of, the premier rebounders in the league. And I'm challenging her this year to be a double-double, when she steps on the floor. And that means being consistent and staying out of foul trouble. Outside of those two, Sania McCray has had a tremendous summer. And up to this point, she was named the team captain this year, and I think she's going to have a special season for us. With the absence of Kayla Green, I expect her and Secoria to take on more playmaker opportunities. Kayla last year really finished a lot of games for us. Chantel Bostic, our starting point guard, she's really improved on her confidence shooting the ball, not just shooting the ball. She's always been able to knock down shots, but now the confidence of not being a walking scouting report is what I tell her. Sharnice Tyler, our only senior, returns and is absolutely in the best shape of her time here in Aggieland. She tore ACL midway through her sophomore season, came back midway through last year and gave us some pretty good minutes. But she worked her tail off this summer, and she's at the best shape of her life. And, I'm going to try to see if she can play alongside Shug in that 4th spot, which Sharnice at one point was just our 5. Micaiah Wilson has had a great summer, working hard. LeDawn Hill. I think she's going to have a special season for us as long as she can stay focused. She's really improved her offensive talent. Like, I'm just really excited about our junior class, but even more excited about our freshman class. You know, we really brought in some freshmen that are who we thought they were. You know, Charmaine Lilly, a young lady we got out of Midlothian, Virginia, out of Cosby High School, is a winner. She's been State Player of the Year. She's been All-State, and she has tremendous amount of confidence in what she can bring to the table, and I think she's going to really, really help us down the stretch. Tara Jones, kid out of Red Springs, North Carolina, can really shoot the ball. She's a a state kid, and we're excited we were able to get her. And then another young lady who's a real blue-collar kid out of Kentucky, Raven Peoples. We was able to steal her from a few schools. She's 6'2", just hard-working, really coachable kid, and I think she's really going to benefit us. And two young women that we have that don't get to play this year, two transfers from Seton Hall, Jayla Jones-Pack and Deja Winters, have really made our practices the most competitive that they've ever been since I've been here as a coach. So I'm excited about what could happen here, and we'll see.
Coach, taking a look at your schedule for the season, you play the University of Virginia, you play VCU, but you also open the year with 3 straight home games. Give me a sense of your schedule for the season.
Well, like everybody, says kind of the thing of getting ready, for conference play. But after, our performance against the defending national champions as a 15 seed, like we really want to take advantage of non-conference to help us in postseason play, and not, overlooking the league, because that's a different beast in itself. But we want to really prepare ourselves, whether it's the WNIT, whether it's the NCAA. We want our RPI to be on a level where, we're given an opportunity to what, we talk about this year's advancement. And it doesn't just help, playing in conference, as we were 15-1 last year. And Bethune, has won a ton of games in conference the last few years, but we've got to do a great job in non-conference in order to give ourselves and our conference the exposure that it deserves in the postseason play.
How big is it to be opening the year with 3 straight home games? I've experienced this as well at this level. A lot of times season starts, you don't see your home floor for the first month or two, but you're home right from the get-go.
Yeah, for confidence. Playing in front of your home crowd, but, really, hopefully being able to get off to a good start. And it goes back to what I was saying about scheduling and non-conference, really wanting to win those games and put yourself in position to win them, and hopefully, keep that steam rolling. So those 3 games, I was opened up against a really good Moorhead team that won 20 games last year, and then Akron, who's under new leadership. So we're hoping that we can, our home crowd, who's a great crowd, will really stand behind us, and we'll be able to win those 3 games and then to see what happens from there.
Well, Coach, we thank you for your time. Congratulations on all the success last season, and good luck this season.
Thank you so much.
North Carolina A&T State opens its season on Friday, November 9th, at home against Moorhead State. For more information on the Aggies, visit ncataggies.com. We are now joined by North Carolina Central head coach Trisha Stafford-Odom. The Lady Eagles went 7-9 in conference play and 9-21 overall last season. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning, Jeff. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Glad to hear. Coach, this is the beginning of your second year down there in Durham. What's the biggest difference you've seen from last season to this season?
I would say the depth that I now have on my roster, in addition to the biggest difference being the roster itself.
But looking at your roster, I still see a couple familiar names. One of the biggest is Rodnisha Martin. She was named preseason third-team All-MEAC, and she highlights your returners for this season. So what do you expect out of her and some of the other returners you have this season?
I am happy to have Rod as one of the returners that North Carolina Central has. I expect Rodnisha to continue to be the motor that we have when we put our product on the floor. Rodnisha is a player that regardless of what we're doing in practice or what type of practice it is, meaning pre-game or post-game. Ranisha gives a 100% on a regular. Her tempo and her pace that she consistently plays at is a pace that we like to play as a team, and she never disappoints with the speed she plays, the intensity she plays, and the passion that she gives. So I expect nothing less than that. I expect what she brings to us to permeate throughout the rest of the players. And I also expect statistically that Rod's going to up her numbers. She averaged almost 13 points a game for us, and I believe that was being the focus of most of our opponent's defense. I think Ranisha got a lot of turnovers because she was the focus, because she had to do so much for us and carry us in so many ways. So my expectations would be that her numbers in the point column go up and she has a decrease in her turnovers. The other players that have come in from last year's roster, I have Kyra Benson. She's already been much improved from the consistency level she brought me last year. Kyra focused on defense for us last year, and I think that's going to be something she continues to do. However, she has taken time in the off season to perfect some skill sets that she had, but she put on the back burner. So thus far, I see Kyra Benson, my only other senior, being somebody that I can rely on consistently to hit my 15-footer, to play solid defense, and then also to be one of the most productive rebounding guards in the conference. Keisha White, in my opinion, and maybe a lot of opinions of others, Keisha White was a player at the end of the season last year who, to me, her light shined in a major way. And for me, I thought that Keisha should have been considered for actually the freshman of the year in the MEAC conference. She did garner some attention, and she did make the all-freshman team, but I do really believe that after coming off postseason knee surgery, she's going to find her way back into extreme form and look a lot better, thinner, lighter on her feet than she did last year. And Keisha is going to bring a lot to us on the offensive end. Paulina Freire, also a member of last year's roster, in my opinion, is probably one of the most versatile players I've seen, definitely in the MEAC conference. And Paulina has come back with a quickness and a step. She's a lot stronger in the paint with her finishes. She's worked on her perimeter game even more so, and I think now I'm willing to allow her to use those skills as we put our product on the floor. I mean, Paulina is amazing. I think 2 or 3 times last year she was honored as Defensive Player of the Week, and I just think that was a miss out, and people not understanding how valuable she was in our season last year. And I would just prepare people to understand Paulina Freire is a person that we will definitely get a lot from this season on both ends of the floor. There's one other player that joined us at the end of the season last year. She was in her redshirt year. She had to sit out for a transfer, and that's Zaria Atkins. She has proven to be an extremely proficient ball handler and point guard for us. Her pace is amazing, and her poise is incredible. Sometimes we laugh and call Z a little old lady because of the way she conducts herself on the floor. She's not rattled. She shoots when she needs to shoot. She sees the right play before it happens. And I think that's a person returning on our roster that will surprise people in a lot of different ways.
Coach, talk about some of the newcomers you've got this season. Who's been standing out for you so far in preseason practice?
We've got a few players that have stood out for us. Shantae Totten, not a kid from far away, North Carolina, and she's a player that plays off will and the passion to win games. She's a guard for us who can play the two or the one, and I think she's learning how to switch her mindset with whatever position she's playing. If she's a complementary guard on the floor, then we're very confident that Shantae has the ability to score in bunches. She's a powerful guard, not very tall, but she has the desire to get offensive and defensive rebounds. And she's going to add to our scoring punch in a major way. She's a three-point threat as well. There's Jasmine Casey. She's an underestimated kid, I believe, from Roanoke, Virginia. So I don't think she got a lot of exposure, high school kid. She came out, and she's a combination guard who we're trying to convert to think exclusively like a point guard because she has the skill set to run a team, score at will, and get into the paint. Has an unorthodox three-point shot. However, she finds a way to get buckets. And that's somebody that once we teach her and expedite the process of her being vocal, I do think Pancake, as we call her, is going to contribute in a major way. Along with two other freshmen that we have that have been extremely impressive. Faith Williams out of Ohio faces a three-point shot waiting to happen. We're very impressed with the fact that she's poised in her game. Even though we recruited her as a three-point specialist, she also has other dimensions to her game, including on the defensive side. So she's been very solid for us. Faith came in after the summer school session, and she hasn't missed or skipped a beat. Extremely solid. We rely on her already to be vocal, to be a leader for us, when in play on the court. And she's learning how to put it all together, and she has a maturity about her that we're very, very excited about. There's Jasmine Pollock, master opponent, I believe is how you pronounce the name of her school. Jasmine's coming off a knee injury last season in high school, but she finished the high school season. I mean, Jasmine is one of the scorers that we have on our team that will get you a quiet 15 to 18 points a game and never say too many words. She's still wearing a brace, but she's almost reached her 100% of confidence level, and we can't wait for her to get there because Jasmine defends, Jasmine can handle the ball if need be, and Jasmine can shoot the ball at a high clip. We're still working on her strength and her aggressiveness, but we're very pleased and impressed with how Jasmine has come in, especially considering the fact that she came off a pretty severe knee injury. I'll skip to a player that has to sit out for us, but has changed the way our team looks and the way our team practices and the way our team plays high-low basketball, and that would be Desiree Sealing. She's a player that came from Rutgers University. Because of the NCAA rules, obviously she has to sit out. But there's just somebody that is teaching our young and other post players, that Ashlyn Lockhart, freshman post player. You have Tiana Brown. These are post players that are learning and benefiting off the fact that they can play around and with a post player who has the presence, like Desiree. She's a player that commands the ball. She takes up space. She's very agile for her size, deceptively. She has a soft touch on her perimeter shot, and she knows the game. So, and the Ashlyn Lockhart, we're relying on to give us a lot of minutes to run the floor, be a shot blocker, and clean up easy baskets around the rim. Ashlyn's going to learn from Desiree. Ashlyn's also a player that, in addition to what she does in the post, she's able to defend for us on the perimeter if we have to get caught up and switch on a guard post. I'm very confident that Ashlyn and Tiana Brown from Yanceyville, they're able to not put us at a deficit on the defensive end. Another junior college player that has come in and we expect to command minutes, demand minutes, and change the way we play is Lene. Lene is out of New York, Peekskill, New York. She was a junior college champion this past season. She has 2 years to play for us. And Lene is a tweener who's finding out what position fits her best. For us, the Eagles were able to use her at the 3, the 4, and sometimes the 2. She's capable of shooting the ball. She can rebound. And she's a smooth player that has a old woman game. So she's pretty deceptive in her quickness, but she has the capability of scoring. And I think Lene Rotten's going to do a lot for us in the future. I've got London Thompson, super quick guard. London has been everything I expected her to be, and I'm trying to slow her down and make her everything we need her to be. By that I mean I'm trying to teach London when to use all the skill sets that she's equipped with. She's a fast guard who defends well for us. London can hit the open shot, and I'm trying to decide if she's best suited for us as the point guard or the 2 guard. Or London Thompson is a steal for us. We're excited we have her, and she does nothing but speed up our tempo of basketball, which we intend on playing.
Well, Coach, we thank you for your time this morning, and we wish your team the best of luck this season.
Thank you very much. I'm excited about what the Eagles will produce. And congratulations to all the MEAC preseason acknowledgments.
Thank you, Coach. North Carolina Central opens its season on Friday, November 9th, with a game at High Point. For more information on the Lady Eagles, visit nccueaglepride.com. We're now joined by Savannah State head coach Cedric Baker. Lady Tigers finished 1-15 in the MEAC last season and went 5-25 overall. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good. Coach, just give us a quick rundown of last season for us.
Last season ended on a disappointing note, but of course, going into the season, you never really, factor in, injuries that may, affect your overall success of the team. Last year, coming into last year's season, we started off on a really high note, had some great victories, had a great win on the road with against Georgia Southern University, which was a very good, win for our program, and I felt very good about us, going into, of course, non-conference play. And we also had a great showing, up at University of South Carolina in that defeat. But we lost one of our top leading scorers, which was Denijah Scott, and we were already dominated by a youthful roster. And we played some tough, close games, but just, lost some games on immaturity, not just as individuals, but just within our, system that we have here at Savannah State University. But ended on a great note, though. We were very confident in our group going into the MEAC tournament. We had a great victory, which some, would consider an upset. We played Norfolk State. I think they were probably number 3 going into the tournament, and we were able to squeeze out a victory, first round victory, 51-48 against a great Norfolk State University team. And we saw Florida A&M, who eventually played in the semifinals, and we were a basket away, from getting back to the semifinal game. And that's what we all, play for. The regular season, of course, you want to win every game, but of course that tournament is a new season, and you want to try to win a tournament and advance on. So we started out, on a roller coaster, but we ended on a high, I thought, with a great young group. And with the ones that are returning, I'm excited to see, how they have, matured and enhanced their skills. And how they're gonna, better themselves this upcoming season. So we're excited going into the 2018-2019 MEAC season and the non-conference season.
Coach, talk about some of those returners, who you expect to step up this year, and how do you hope to replace Kaylee Allen's production?
We're excited about Hanaya Moten. She's out of Washington, D.C., a 5'7" combo guard. She's a sophomore. She had a great, game against Norfolk State, had 9 points, 4 assists, 4 steals. She's definitely improved her outside shooting, so we're definitely looking for scoring production out of her, and also with the personnel and the style that we play, I think it's gonna definitely, complement, her game. She's great in the open court. She's very cerebral, very athletic, quick off the bounce, but she can stretch the defense as well. So we're looking for her to definitely continue to build on our culture here at Savannah State and provide some scoring for us. Also, we had last year a freshman, Jalea Gray, 5'11", got off to a great start. She was sidelined for the season, with the stress fracture. She didn't get to, play the second half of the season, nor did she get to play in the tournament, but she was definitely, turning it on, ended up earning a starting spot for us as a freshman, and she's been playing really well. She's definitely matured on and off the court. She's at full strength, without any rehabilitation to her injury. So she's gotten stronger physically as well as mentally, and we're looking for her to provide and some scoring for us inside and also within, the mid-perimeter game. And then Alexis Sowell, 6'3" post player, who's also going to be a sophomore, who started every game for us last year, had a great tournament. She's always been known as a shot blocker and rebounder, but she's been able to make 1 or 2 moves, solid moves in the post area, and she's definitely enhanced her skills. So those kids, along with some newcomers that we're excited about, will definitely help us, replace that 15 points, 16 points that will be missed greatly by Kaylee Allen.
Coach, talk about some of your newcomers this season.
Real excited about, our newcomers recruiting class. Of course, you're always trying to, get back, to your best teams, and you brag about your, past teams. But I think the newcomers that we have, transfers, and of course freshmen, they definitely bring a whole lot more athleticism, a lot more quickness, and we're able to, play defense at the level in which I think, will help us be successful and have, allowed us to be successful in the past. So we have a transfer, Jaquise Austin. She's a primary ball handler, but she can also go between, the 1 or 2 guard spot. Great mid-range shooter, but does so many of the little intangible things that could be the difference in a win or loss that may not show up in black and white on the stat sheet. Just a tenacious kid, great foot speed, can finish, in traffic, left or right hand. So we're excited about Jaquise coming to join us from Chattahoochee Valley Community College. Actually, she was an Olympic sprinter, and she signed a Division I scholarship to Jackson State in track, but just had a great love for basketball, and we were able to, bring her in. So we're excited about her. She brings some maturity, comes from a winning program, and that's always helpful. Maya Jones has had a great preseason, 5'10" guard out of Livonia, Georgia, Franklin County. She's played at a high level through grassroots programs, also with her high school, led her team to the Final Four in the state of Georgia. Very competitive kid, stretches the defense. She can pretty much kind of do it all type of player. High IQ, rangy kid on the defensive end. I think she'll be able to, manufacture some points for herself, off the defensive end. Also, she can get her shots within the half-court set as well. So we're excited about her. And Ajana Maxwell, freshman out of Lithonia, Georgia, long ball shooter. Right now, of course, we're trying to improve her overall game, but what she brings to the table, she can definitely stretch the defense, which we need. We'll see a lot of zone, I anticipate throughout our league, but she can definitely shoot the ball. But of course, we want her to, be a better defender. And we have a very mature freshman, Robbie Allen, out of Nashville, North Carolina. We're excited about. She's a ball handler, combo guard, not a very long ball shooter, but she can score. She gets buckets. If it's offensive rebound and if it's posting, if it's off the bounce. Just a well-rounded kid when it comes to the game. Also, we're excited about Leandra Gillis coming off an ACL tear, but has recovered fully. Another 5'10" guard we have. We're excited about her shooting, and she's very, very fundamentally sound, and we're excited about her. So those are some of our top newcomers, and then we also have two local kids. We're excited about Jabrika Bass, who's a state champion off of Beach High School state championship team, solid guard, and Taquasia Lampkin, 6'1" forward from Beaufort, South Carolina. So young team, very confident team. They have great spirit, a lot of hustle, great attitudes, and we're excited for this opportunity. Our last year in the MEAC, of course, but definitely talented enough to really make a difference and push for another championship season. So even though they're young, our staff is confident. My first championship team, it's been some years, but I even had 9 freshmen on that team. So experience is the master teacher. So right now, we're just trying to get them caught up to speed. Of course, just have great team chemistry and just getting them acclimated so much, not so much athletically, but just academically, overwhelming with study hall and going to class and practice lifting weights. So once they get past that and they have done a great job thus far, I think we're going to see some great things happen for these kids as a team and individually.
Coach, we thank you for your time today, and we wish your team the best of luck this season.
Thank you so much, sir.
Savannah State will open its season on Tuesday, November 6th, at home against Wesleyan College. For more information on Savannah State, log on to ssuathletics.com. Our last coach is South Carolina State first-year head coach Audra Smith. South Carolina State finished 6-10 in MEAC play last season, going 12-18 overall. Good afternoon, Coach. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Last but not least, here I am.
Doing well, Coach. First of all, welcome to the MEAC.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm excited and happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. First things first, Coach, what's the biggest thing you've noticed since first joining the program?
Joining the program here, the biggest thing has been, I inherited a lot of seniors. These young ladies have been tremendous. They have welcomed me with open arms. They've been extremely receptive to everything that I brought into the program in terms of discipline, in terms of what we're doing offensively, defensively, how we practice, my expectations academically. Just everything that we do, they've been very receptive to that. They've been extremely coachable. I should add, academically, that really wasn't an issue because I walked into a team with a 3.3 team GPA. So that was a blessing. So academically, they're very, very strong. But they've been a great group. they have really been, as I said, when I say receptive, I mean to me, myself and the staff, they've just been very hungry, and they've just been very receptive and asking questions, and they come to practice, and they're on time, and they're ready to go, and they're in the gym, and they're constantly working on their game. Over the summer, I was on the road, and Coach Garvin, the men's coach here, sends me a video, and he's such a great guy, and I'm like, what is he sending me? So he sends me a video, and it's a video of the kids in the gym getting that shot. And I said, oh, wow, that's great. He goes, Coach, I haven't seen that before. So that was also great to know that, they're looking forward to my style of coaching. I'm changing a lot of things in terms of the way we play, and just excited about the enthusiasm that these young ladies have shown thus far.
Coach, you mentioned all the seniors you inherited. Talk about some of the returners that you're expecting big things from this season.
Well, for me, as a coach, I've been in the business for over almost 25 years now. I'm expecting something from all these seniors. I'll start with, and make it really quick. Dominique Peterson's a great, good-sized post player, has a lot of size, and can do some real damage in the post. And unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to work with her because Dominique also plays the middle blocker for the volleyball team. So we're going to have to wait until we get her. I was able to work out with her a little this summer and work on some things with her this summer. And again, very coachable kid, and I can tell will be able to hold her own in the post on the offensive end and the defensive end. Jasmine Williams is just a kid that's a bouncy kid. She's just all over the floor. I think she made a name for herself last year in the number of charges that she would take per game. I don't know if anyone kept that stat, but I went back and watched some film, and that's what she does. I mean, she's just going to put her body on the line no matter what. She has the ability to play, at that 4 or 5 position. We're having her step out a little bit more in that stretch 4 position, put the ball on the deck a little bit more as well. Kamani Jenkins is a very explosive guard, a really good scorer, kid that has a great mid-range game, that can get out in transition, likes to run. She was sidelined last year with some stress fractures, and she's coming back from that very well. We have to just make sure that we take care of her and monitor her in practice and things of that nature. There's Esther Gundosi, Esther's a really good three-point shooter. We didn't have the opportunity to shoot a lot last year, but she can shoot the 3. She also has a mid-range game that can get to the basket. And Esther's probably our best on-ball defender. She's our best on-ball defender, and she works extremely hard. I would list her as our hardest working player. Keisha Lewis is a deceptive player. She can put the ball on the deck and get to the basket. She's a very good three-point shooter. Shoots the 3 with ease. She will continue to play that stretch 4 position, as well as possibly a little 3. But with Keisha, she's going to have to be able to guard on that perimeter as well, but can definitely score the 3 ball. Then, of course, there's Jaquana Murray. And the one thing I said to Jaquana Murray, high school coach, because Jaquana Murray is a local yokel, as I like to call her, from Orangeburg Prep, is the fact that the only thing that's disappointing about Jaquana is that she's a senior. She has a lot of talent, very fast. We're running sprint. She's up with the guards, beating some of the guards. She will be able to get out and run in transition, catch in transition, and finish around the basket. She's more of a finesse post than a power post. So we're giving her that flexibility to catch and, face up to the basket and make a move to the basket, or catch, face up, and knock down that little jumper right there off the block. And she's also a very good, she doesn't block the shot. She's going to alter the shot. So she's also a very solid rim protector for us as well. And then last but not least in that senior class is Carrie Watson. And Carrie is a solid point guard, a really solid ball handler, and does a good job of running the team, very vocal player that gets everyone else involved. Also has the ability to knock down more of a mid-range score, and also can get to the basket. So, I wish, these kids were all juniors, but unfortunately they're seniors. But they've been great. They've been great. They've worked really hard. They've been very open to everything that we've brought to the table, and they are having fun. And that's the biggest part of it. And that's part of what we've been talking about, is that we want to have fun. This game is a game that you've been playing since you were a little girl. You played AAU, high school, and this is your reward now, to be in the college level and to have an opportunity to compete at the highest level, go out and have fun and win ball games. So that's our philosophy, and that's what we're going with this group. And they've they've embraced it.
Coach, talk about some of the newcomers on your team this year.
Well, we have, 4 newcomers that I feel will be make a tremendous impact for us. We have 2 fifth-year players that we were able to snag from Georgia Southern, Rain Beeman and Jacavia Atkins. Rain Beeman is a kid that can play literally the 1 through the 4. She's a 5'10", long, lanky kid that can defend, that can create off the bounce, very solid ball handler that can shoot the 3-ball. And she's been great. I mean, she's a very mature young lady, definitely knows the game. And again, I put her in 4 different positions, and she knows all the offenses that we've instilled and knows every position within the offense. And she has really embraced that role of being that utility player, of that I can play her anywhere. I can play her at the stretch 4. She can bring the ball up and initiate an offensive set. She can be on either wing. And she's also a very good defender, being able to defend other stretch forwards and to defend guards. So we're very fortunate to have Rain Beam, and she'll be someone that I think will surprise a lot of people in the MEAC. And then there's Jacavia Atkins, a.k.a. Speedy. Speedy is probably one of the quickest guards I've ever coached. I mean, she is just very, very quick with the ball. Kid never gets tired, and she pushes the ball to the floor. Speedy's more of a mid-range kid. She's a mid-range jumper, elevates unbelievably. And has a very, very high basketball IQ, very solid passer, knows how to get into the paint, and when she gets to the paint and if she finds herself in trouble, somehow, miraculously, she finds an open post player or she finds an open guard to knock down a shot. And her maturity and the fact that she's played, for 3 years, and the fact that she has that experience under her belt, as well as Rain having that experience under her belt, playing in a different conference, and coming in and adding to what we already have is extremely invaluable. So we're very pleased with Jacavia Atkins and what she's already brought to the table for us, and also with Rain Beeman. Then there's Taylor Brown, who's a stretch 4. Taylor Brown is actually a product of New Jersey, and she transferred in from Seton Hall. And Taylor Brown is definitely a stretch 4. She's a highly touted player coming out of high school. She's a stretch 4. She can shoot the 3. She can drive, rebound, get the ball off the rim, and go coast to coast. Just an unbelievable athlete. And Taylor, just plays the game with a lot of ease, very, very smooth, finesse type player. She's she's a true baller. I mean, she loves the game, and it's her passion, and she's in the gym constantly. And she's one of those kids as well. She may be hurting, and she's still going to play. She's still going to practice. And so sometimes I have to pull her, like, no, Taylor, you got to come out. And then she doesn't like that because she feels like, she wants to and needs to be on the floor. But Taylor will bring a tremendous amount of experience and a tremendous amount of scoring at from a lot of different areas for us this season. And lastly, there's Chrisana Scott. Chrisana is a shooting guard from a junior college that we were able to acquire. And she's what I like to call the silent assassin. She's a quiet kid, literally quiet young lady. But she can shoot the 3-ball. Again, sometimes you see her do things like, how does she do that? She has really a very good ball handler, can kind of weave between the traffic and get in and finish. She's a sturdy, strong guard. And she knows how to use her body and get big, put her shoulder into them, and get up and finish, and sometimes get that and one and go to the line and knock down that free throw. And she's also a really solid defender. So we have a lot of things coming back here, and then some good additions. So looking forward to my first year coaching in the MEAC. It's a very competitive conference. I've had the opportunity to play against quite a few teams in the MEAC over my years of coaching. Last season, of course, every season, we play. When I was at Clemson, we played South Carolina State. Last year was a very close game. I think 8 points or so. So they compete. That's the one thing, is that they compete, and they're going to continue to compete. And that's the name of the game. And that's another aspect that we have been talking about and emphasizing, is that, hey, we are going to compete from tip to the final buzzer. No matter what, we're going to compete.
And Coach, looking at your schedule for this coming season, especially the non-conference portion of it, you open against Radford, you take on Arizona, you play Winthrop, Wake Forest. Talk about your schedule a little bit.
Well, some of it was already done before I got here, but I'm very pleased with it. I think this is really going to test us early, and it's really going to give us an opportunity to see how we measure up. I mean, and that's what the non-conference schedule is about. You should schedule, competitive games. So that you can put your team to the test to see how they measure up. Bradford's a very good team. They, have, a lot of returners coming back from last season. They had a really good season last season. Then, of course, going all the way out to Arizona, that'll be a big challenge for us because it's a long trip. But, they have some young players as well, but it will be a really good experience for us to take that trip out there and play against a strong Pac-12 team. And then, of course, we have Upstate here at home and Winthrop as well. And then the Beach Ball Classic, we're facing Wake Forest University and East Carolina. So playing teams of that stature really gives us an opportunity to, see how we measure up and understand that, regardless of who you're playing, you're going out and, hey, they lace up their shoes the same way we do. They put on their gym shorts the same way we do. And we're going to go out and we're going to compete. And I think that will definitely give us an idea of, what we would need to work on, what we need to do better, and also definitely get us ready for a very, very tough MEAC schedule, opening with North Carolina A&T at home, and then, of course, going on the road with Morgan State and Coppin State, and, the other teams that we have on the schedule. This is a very challenging league. I was listening to some of the other coaches and mentioned the fact that, hey, it's any given night, whether you're at the bottom of the league or the top of the league. So you have to be ready to play. You have to be ready to compete. And, there are, oh, my gosh, a wide variety of talented players in this league. And, some teams have 3, 4, players. And it's like, whoa, how are we going to contain those players? But it's a challenge. And I think, like I mentioned, the non-conference will definitely help us to prepare for the challenges that we'll face in conference play.
Well, Coach, we thank you for your time this afternoon. We wish you luck as season starts here in a couple weeks.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate being on.
South Carolina State will open the 2018-19 season on Wednesday, November 7th, on the road against Radford. For more information on South Carolina State, please visit scsuathletics.com.